Arrived, all members, please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you please ring the bell? We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Did we get you? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 152nd House District down in Sylvester, Georgia area, Chairman Bill Yerda. Chairman Yerda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to me to welcome Pastor Lee Smith and his family to the House chamber today. Pastor Lee has been the pastor of Leesburg United Methodist Church for the past 10 years. And when you've been at a Methodist church 10 years, they like you, don't they? He served as pastor in Plains and Preston, Georgia, and also served as a Methodist youth director in Douglas, Georgia. He and his wife, Krista, which is here, actually, I think y'all are celebrating your 22nd anniversary this week. Is that right? Congratulations. They also have 3 children, Micah, Natalie, and Ben. And Micah and Natalie are here with us today. Welcome to the People's House. Pastor Lee has a heart for public service. He serves on the board of the United Methodist Children's Home in Macon. And the Leesburg United Methodist Church also serves over 3,000 people a year through its food pantry and its closed closet ministries. Thank you, Pastor Lee, for joining us today, and we're just honored to have you here representing Southwest Georgia and being with us.
Good to have you.
Speaker Burns, Chairman Yerda, and all of you distinguished men and women, it is such a blessing and honor to be here, to be a part of this time together. It is also an honor for my hometown, Leesburg, and the church there, and I'm just so thankful for their support, all the different folks who help me and support me and encourage me. I've gotten thousands of emails, it feels like, this morning saying, we're praying for you, don't embarrass us, so I hope I don't do that. It's exciting to be here this morning. It's also really a privilege to be here with my family. I will never forget the day that Chris and I were going to the doctor to find out, to see our first sonogram of our child, and so we get to the doctor's office, and it had taken us a while to kind of start our family, and so we go in, and the picture comes up, and I see the picture, and I'm like, something's different there. What's going on with this picture? And he started laughing, and he said, what do you see, Lee? And I said, well, I'm no doctor, but it looks like there's 2 in there. And he said, that's right, there's 2. So Micah and Natalie are twins. They don't look like it, but they are. And at 17, it's just a privilege to have them here. It really is. Being a pastor, it is a blessing for me to meet different people. And one of the things I've always tried to encourage myself to be as a student, always to learn. And so I'm trying to always to learn from people that I've met, whether that's from President Carter, and we're praying for his family there in Plains as I got to know them, or the men and women that we serve in our food pantry. I'm always trying to learn from these folks as I get to know them and as they become a part of my life. And so one of the things I've been learning here recently is what it means to be a shepherd. I've got a retired man in my church, lay leader, Larry Powell. He is a goat farmer, and he goes to his farm in Parrott, Georgia, every day, and I get a chance to go with him on Fridays, my day off, and I learn about goat farming and I learn about farming, and it's just been a wonderful kind of time in Leesburg learning these things. But I've learned some things about shepherding that are true. First, I've learned that sheep really do know the shepherd's voice. It's an amazing thing. He lets these goats out. They're free to go wherever they want to go on his farm. They could leave his farm if they wanted to, but the moment he yells at them, beeps his horn, they all come running back, right back into the confine of the pen that he keeps them in. I've also learned the shepherd does leave the 99 to find the one. If he does a head count, there's one missing, we get in the truck, we go looking for that one because it has value and it has worth. And then finally, just this last Friday, I learned that the shepherd never gives up on even the smallest and most insignificant seeming animals that he cares for. We got to Larry's farm, and a mother had triplets. One was in its own placenta, the two were in their own placenta, and they were very small. I'm telling you, some of the smallest goats I've ever seen. And so he left them on Thursday. When we got back there, he thought that one of them would be gone, passed, and the other one he didn't know. And so when we got there, these two little were still alive, but we also found out that the mother had rejected them. Every time this little goat would try to go to the mother to get its milk, she would kick it away. Nature can be cruel sometimes, but because it seems like nature knows, right? Nature knows when something is weak, and so nature kicks it aside. And so we were sitting there, and we're about ready to leave, and he had tried to give it its vitamins and all these other things. And so as we started to back away, he said, I can't leave them. And so he got out, and we got those little goats, put them in a pen, and even though it was inconvenience, even though he was going to have to be up all night giving these goats the bottle, he took them home with him. Why is this important? Because, friends, we're all shepherds. I shepherd the Leesburg United Methodist Church. Each one of you shepherd your districts that you've been appointed to. And together as a house, you help shepherd the state of Georgia. This is important. 1 Peter 5:2-3 says, shepherd the flock of God among you. Exercise oversight, not under compulsion, but voluntarily according to the will of God, and not for sordid gain, but with eagerness. Peter is also the one who denied Christ 3 times, remember? And he's also the one after the resurrection where Jesus comes to him and says, Peter, 3 times, do you love me? Finally, Peter says, you know that I love you. You know all things. And Jesus' response, each time he asked the question, he asks, in other words, he says, tend my lambs, shepherd my sheep, tend my sheep. In other words, shepherd the people that I've given you. Today, you are shepherds. Today, if you're a teacher here, I notice we got some young folks up there. You're a shepherd. God puts us in different places to shepherd people in different ways. The question is, how will we do that? Will we shepherd them? Will we put them first? Will we go between the aisles and join together and know to put them first? Because that's what we've been called to do, right? And so that's where I am, and that's what my heart is telling me. Shepherd your people, Lee. Sometimes they don't agree with you. Sometimes you don't agree with them. But never, ever forget why you're here. You're here to shepherd. And how do we do this? We watch the best shepherd of all, right? The one who did leave the 99 to find the one. The one who does know every one in his flock. The one that even if it's small and seemingly insignificant, matters to him. The one that gave his life for all of his sheep. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. This is the one that we follow. This is the one we try to be like as we all learn to be better shepherds. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank you so much for these men and women that you've called to this place. It is no accident or chance that they're here. Lord, I just pray that you would allow each one of them to see the shepherds that they are. I pray that you would encourage them. I pray that you would strengthen them. I pray that you would give them wisdom, Lord, as they follow after you. Bless this house. Bless the speaker. Bless all of these representatives here today. Lord, we just thank you so much for this time. In your amazing name we pray. Amen. Will you join me now in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pastor Smith, for helping encourage us all to be good shepherds. We appreciate that, and a great devotion. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Members, you may join Pastor Smith in the South Anteroom for a photo. House will come to order. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have read the your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And on another note, Mr. Speaker, this is something that goes back to my childhood, and I've heard it many, many times, and I've said it to myself many times over the years. Be the best you can be with what you have where you are.
You've turned out pretty well there, Chairman Tarvin. I think you've done a good job of following that admonition. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? The chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Representative Estration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Members, if I can have your attention again just for a minute for planning purposes, the remainder of the week. The FY24 budget was placed on your desk at 9:38 this morning. 9:38. It needed to be there for 24 hours before we could take that document up. But for planning purposes, I believe the majority leader will make this motion a little bit later today, that we will come in session at 1:30 tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. For planning purposes, at 1:30, we'll be here tomorrow at 1:30. You may have committee meetings in the morning. We will continue to work our usual day on Thursday, but we will be here at 1:30 tomorrow. Thank you for your attention. Mr. Clerk, first reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 695 by Representative Camp and the 135th bill be titled to act to provide a new charter for the city of Thompson.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 696 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Stoner of the 40th, and Cummings of the 39th. Bill be titled an act to amend the act creating a new charter for the city of Smyrna.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 697 by Representative Beverly, the 143rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Scott of the 76th, Cannon of the 58th, Roberts of the 52nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 13 and Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions concerning administrative procedures.
Budget and Fiscal Affairs Oversight.
House Bill 698 by Representative Bentley, the 150th. Bill be titled an act to amend the act creating the Board of Commissioners of Dooley County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 699 by Representative Williamson of the 112th and Fleming of the 114th. The bill be titled an act to amend the act to provide a new charter for the city of Social Circle.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 700 by Representative Bentley of the 150th. The bill be titled an act to amend the act establishing the membership of the Board of Education of Dooley County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 701 by Representative Clark of the 100th, Hong of the 103rd, McCollum of the 30th. Bill be titled an act to amend the act provide a new charter for the city of Beaufort.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 702 by Representative Westbrook of the 163rd, Jackson of the 165th, Stevenson of the 64th, Petrie of the 166th, Gilliard of the 162nd. Bill be titled an act to amend the act governing the school system of the city of Savannah and Chatham County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 703 by Representative Westbrook of the 163rd, Jackson of the 165th, Stevens of the 164th, and Gilliard of the 162nd. Bill be titled an act to amend the act amending the several acts relating to and incorporating the mayor and aldermen of the city of Savannah.
Intergovernmental coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 670 by Representative Bruce of the 61st, Glaze of the 67th, Clark of the 108th, McLean of the 109th, a bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 671 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Hong of the 103rd, and Clark of the 100th, a bill to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from Sugar Hill, City of Sugar Hill ad valorem taxes. House Bill 672 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Hong of the 103rd, Clark of the 100th, a bill to amend an act providing a homestead exemption from City of Sugar Hill ad valorem taxes. House Bill 673 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Hong of the 103rd, Clark of the 100th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from City of Sugar Hill ad valorem taxes. House Bill 674 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Petrie of the 166th, a bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 675 by Williams of the 168th, Deloach of the 167th, the bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the City of Riceboro. House Bill 676 by Representative Hagan of the 156th, Williams of the 148th, the bill to amend an act providing compensation and chairperson of members of the Board of Education of Ben Hill County. House Bill 677 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, the bill relating to post-secondary education. House Bill 678 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Neal of the 79th, Burnell of the 77th, Douglas of the 78th, Hawley of the 116th, a bill to amend an act creating the Clayton County Board of Commissioners. House Bill 679 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd, Davis of the 87th, a bill to provide comprehensive state civil rights law. House Bill 680 by Representative Taylor of the 173rd, a bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the City of Thomasville. House Bill 681 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of technology fee by the Probate Court of Quitman County. House Bill 682 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of technology fee by the Probate Court of Seminole County. House Bill 683 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of technology fee by the Magistrate Court of Seminole County. House Bill 684 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Mitchell of the 88th, Schofield of the 63rd, Cannon of the 58th, Scott of the 76th, and others, a bill relating to health. House Bill 685 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Magistrate Court of Early County. House Bill 686 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Early County. House Bill 687 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Jones of the 25th, Cox of the 28th, Jaspers of the 11th, Clark of the 100th, a bill relating to change or removal of county site. House Bill 688 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Magistrate Court of Miller County. House Bill 689 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Miller County. House Bill 690 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Magistrate Court of Baker County. House Bill 691 by Representative Green of the 154th, bill to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the Probate Court of Baker County. House Bill 692 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, a bill relating to special license plates promoting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations. House Bill 693 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd, a bill to amend an act providing a Board of Commissioners of the County of Elbert. House Bill 694 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, Moore of the 91st, Crawford of the 84th, Kendrick of the 95th, Bennett of the 94th, and others, a bill to amend an act providing compensation certain county officers and officials of DeKalb County. House Resolution 411 by Representative Bruce of the 61st, Glaze of the 67th, Clark of the 108th, McLean of the 109th, a resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution. House Resolution 412 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, LaHood of the 175th, Burchett of the 176th, Houston of the 170th, of the 16th, and others. Resolution recognizing the Honorable Calvin Ellis plaque, dedicating a road in his honor. House Resolution 413 by Representative Byrd of the 20th, a resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution. House Resolution 414 by Representative Corbett of the 174th, Meeks of the 178th, Saines of the 180th, Ridley of the 6th, Burchett of the 176th. Resolution recognizing Mr. Caleb Driggers, dedicating a road in his honor. Senate Bill 4 by Senator Davenport of the 44th, Sims of the 12th, Tate of the 38th, Butler of the 55th, Harbison of the 15th, and others, a bill relating to educational programs in elementary and secondary education. Senate Bill 20 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Watson of the 1st, Hufstetler of the 52nd, Tillery of the 19th, Butler of the 55th, and others, a bill to amend the Surprise Bill and Consumer Protection Act. Senate Bill 31 by Senator Beach of the 21st, Dolezal of the 27th, Gooch of the 51st, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Hatchett of the 50th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions relative to prosecuting attorneys. Senate Bill 35 by Senator Merritt of the 9th, Jones II of the 22nd, Butler of the 55th, Harbison of the 15th, Parent of the 42nd, and others. Resolution, a bill relating to special license plates promoting or supporting certain worthy agencies, funds, or nonprofit corporations. Senate Bill 45 by Senator Anafarte of the 31st, Dixon of the 45th, Albers of the 56th, Still of the 48th, Hickman of the 4th, and others. A bill relating to health of students in elementary and secondary education. Senate Bill 64 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Hatchett of the 50th, Tillery of the 19th, Duggan of the 30th, Anderson of the 24th, and others. A bill relating to issuance of new birth certificate following adoption and legitimation or paternity determination. Senate Bill 66 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Hodges of the 3rd, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Tillery of the 19th. A bill relating to the number of judges of superior courts. Senate Bill 74 by Senator Tillery of the 19th, Brass of the 28th, Hatchett of the 50th, Duggan of the 30th, Still of the 48th, and others. A bill relating to commerce and trade, courts, and torts. Senate Bill 76 by Senator Merritt of the 9th, Lucas of the 26th, Harbison of the 15th, Butler of the 55th, Islam of the 7th, and others. A bill relating to the State Employees Health Insurance Plan and Post-Employment Health Benefit Fund. Senate Bill 91 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Kennedy of the 18th, Hodges of the 3rd, Hostetler of the 52nd, Hickman of the 4th, and others. A bill relating to workers' compensation. Senate Bill 95 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Hatchett of the 50th, Hodges of the 3rd, Still of the 48th, Moore of the 53rd, and others. A bill relating to state grants authorized relative to general provisions of solid waste management. Senate Bill 97 by Senator Andrew Vartzy of the 31st, Alberts of the 56th, Duggan of the 30th, Gooch of the 51st, Robertson of the 29th, and others. A bill relating to emergency management. Senate Bill 103 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Burns of the 23rd, Anderson of the 24th, Merritt of the 9th, Anderson of the 43rd, and others. A bill relating to disposition of unclaimed property. Senate Bill 115 by Senator McLaurin of the 14th, Duggan of the 30th, Kennedy of the 18th, Moore of the 53rd, Dulles of the 27th, and others. A bill relating to rights, privileges, and prohibitions. Senate Bill 127 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, a bill relating to excise tax on rooms, lodging, and accommodations. Senate Bill 136 by Senator Duggan of the 30th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Hostetler of the 52nd, Jones of the 10th, Dixon of the 45th, and others. A bill relating to calculation of development impact fees. Senate Bill 137 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, Strickland of the 17th, Williams of the 25th, and of the 31st, Orrock of the 36th. A bill relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities. Senate Bill 138 by Senator Williams of the 25th, Robertson of the 29th, Hatchett of the 50th, Beach of the 21st, Anderson of the 24th, and others. A bill to revise the procedure for filling vacancies in the office of sheriff. Senate Bill 140 by Senator Summers of the 13th, Watson of the 1st, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Kennedy of the 18th, Anderson of the 24th, and others. A bill relating to regulation of hospitals and related institutions. Senate Bill 144 by Senator Islam of the 7th, Duggan of the 30th, Payne of the 54th, and Edvarty of the 31st, Anderson of the 43rd, and others. A bill relating to adjunct general duties, records, seal, and effect on documentary evidence. Senate Bill 146 by Senator Gooch of the 51st, Cowser of the 46th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Lucas of the 26th, and Edvarty of the 31st, and others. A bill relating to jurisdiction of powers and duties of the Georgia Public Service Commission. Senate Bill 155 by Senator Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Alberts of the 56th, Robertson of the 29th, Strickland of the 17th, Still of the 48th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions relative to dangerous instrumentalities and practices. Senate Bill 158 by Senator Robertson of the 29th, Harbin of the 16th, Duggan of the 30th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Dixon of the 45th. A bill relating to property insurance. Senate Bill 160 by Senator Still of the 48th, Hostetler of the 52nd, Robertson of the 29th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, and others. A bill relating to labor and industrial relations. Senate Bill 164 by Senator Hostetler of the 52nd, Dulles of the 27th, Brass of the 28th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Summers of the 13th, and others. A bill relating to nurses. Senate Bill 168 by Senator Williams of the 25th, Summers of the 13th, Still of the 48th, Eccles of the 49th, Harbin of the 16th. A bill relating to liens in hospitals and nursing homes. Senate Bill 177 by Senator Jones II of the 22nd, Goodman of the 8th, Butler of the 55th, Hickman of the 4th, Sims of the 12th. A bill relating to agriculture. Senate Bill 193 by Senator Gooch of the 51st, Anna Vartey of the 31st, Kennedy of the 18th, Cowser of the 46th, Summers of the 13th, and others. A bill relating to promotion and development of broadband services. Senate Bill 195 by Senator Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Duggan of the 30th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Ginnett of the 47th, Harbison of the 15th, and others. A bill relating to professions and businesses. Senate Bill 197 by Senator Hostetler of the 52nd, Watson of the 1st, Butler of the 55th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Kennedy of the 18th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions relative to professions and businesses. Senate Bill 199 by Senator Estevez of the 6th, Hostetler of the 52nd, Goodman of the 8th, Butler of the 55th, Parents of the 42nd, and others. A bill relating to the State Employee Benefit Plan Council. Senate Bill 203 by Senator Andrew Vartey of the 31st, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Robertson of the 29th, Dulles of the 27th, and others. A bill relating to Industry Services Training Program. Senate Bill 204 by Senator Dulles of the 27th, Beach of the 21st, Gooch of the 51st, Kennedy of the 18th, and Vartey of the 31st, and others. A bill relating to education accountability. Senate Bill 211 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Dixon of the 45th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, and Vartey of the 31st, and others. A bill relating to education. Senate Bill 213 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, Goodman of the 8th, Payne of the 54th, Watson of the 11th, Dixon of the 45th, and others. A bill relating to zoning procedures. Senate Bill 217 by Senator Alberts of the 56th, Robertson of the 29th, Duggan of the 30th, Strickland of the 17th, Kennedy of the 18th, and others. A bill relating to registration and licensing of motor vehicles. Senate Bill 218 by Senator Redd of the 33rd, Alberts of the 56th, Jones II of the 22nd, Robertson of the 29th, Say of the 34th, and others. A bill relating to identification cards for persons without driver's licenses. Senate Bill 220 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Watson of the 11th, Anderson of the 24th, Walker of the 3rd of the 20th, Sims of the 12th, and others. A bill relating to historic preservation. Senate Bill 223 by Senator Watson of the 1st, Tillery of the 19th, Brass of the 28th, Hufstetler of the 52nd, Robertson of the 29th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions regarding health. Senate Bill 230 by Senator Brass of the 28th, Eccles of the 49th, Gooch of the 51st, Summers of the 13th, Robertson of the 29th, a bill relating to programs and protections for children. Senate Bill 231 by Senator Burns of the 23rd and Anderson of the 24th, a bill relating to amend an act providing consolidation of the Richmond County and the City of Augusta. Senate Bill 233 by Senator Dolezal of the 27th, Brass of the 28th, Still of the 48th, Moore of the 53rd, Setzler of the 37th, and others, a bill relating to education. Senate Bill 237 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th and Hodges of the 3rd, a bill relating to the Georgia Student Finance Authority. Senate Bill 240 by Senator Walker the 3rd of the 20th, Robertson of the 29th, Tillery of the 19th, a bill relating to retirement and pensions. Senate Bill 246 by Senator Hodges of the 3rd, Watson of the 1st, Hatchett of the 50th, Kennedy of the 18th, Tillery of the 19th, and others, a bill relating to the Georgia Board of Health Care Workforce. Senate Bill 254 by Senator Brass of the 28th, a bill relating to selling and other trade practices. Senate Bill 259 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Brass of the 28th, a bill relating to general provisions regarding the superior courts. Senate Bill 266 by Senator Harbin of the 16th, Dixon of the 45th, Setzler of the 37th, Goodman of the 8th, Williams of the 25th, and others, a bill relating to retirement and pensions. Senate Bill 272 by Senator Kennedy of the 18th, Tillery of the 19th, Strickland of the 17th, Hatchett of the 50th, Butler of the 55th, and others, a bill relating to courts. Senate Resolution 214 by Senator Gann of the 47th, Still of the 48th, Robertson of the 29th, Kennedy of the 18th, Williams of the 25th, and others, a resolution creating the Joint Study Committee on Local Option Sales Tax and Service Delivery Strategy through second readers.
Members, please give the clerk your attention. Reports of standing committees the clerk will read.
Representative Carson of the 46th District, Chairman of the Committee on Retirement, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Retirement has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate. It has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 128 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Carson of the 46th District, Chairman. Representative Matt Hatchett of the 155th District, Chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Appropriations has had under its consideration the following bill of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 19, due pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Matt Hatchett of the 155th District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll move on to morning orders. At this time, we'll recognize Representative Carlton Howard, to introduce our Doctor of the Day. Members, please give your attention to the introduction of the Doctor of the Day. He's given his time to be with us. Representative Howard, you're recognized to introduce our doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It gives me a great privilege today to introduce our doctor of the day. He is Dr. Chad Ray. He's been here before, but Dr. Ray joined the obstetrics and gynecology faculty in 2006 of the Medical College of Georgia. After graduate education at the College of Charleston, he graduated from the Medical University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy. He practiced retail pharmacy in Aiken, South Carolina, and hospital pharmacy at the MUSC Children's Hospital in Charleston, South Carolina, before returning to the medical school. He graduated from MUSC College of Medicine in 2002. Dr. Ray is a graduate of the Medical College of Georgia Obstetrics and Gynecology Residency Program, where he was Administrative Chief Resident. Dr. Ray is the Residency Program Director for the department. His interests include maternal mortality, global women's health initiatives, and workforce solutions for women's health. I'm further excited about Dr. Ray being here today because I just discovered that he delivered my niece a few years ago, who's now in high school at the Lucy Lane High School. She's 16 years old, and because of what he did for her, she's flourishing well. I introduce you to Dr. Chad Ray.
Thank you, Representative Howard, Mr. Speaker, and distinguished members of the House. It's an honor for me today to serve once again as the doctor today in this people's house. On a personal note, when the late Representative Wayne Howard introduced me 3 years ago, he made it very clear that I have a special place in their family, and I want to make it clear that your family has a special place in my heart as well. Educating doctors bears an extreme weight on us all. And I want to be clear that that is a burden shared by both the faculty who educate those future doctors, but also you all in this body. The decisions that are made in this chamber are equally as important as the decisions that I make and how I teach at the bedside, in the operating room, on labor and delivery, and in the office. So I want to thank you for all that you do, and I also want you to all share in the pride of the amazing doctors we put out in this state. I certainly hope that we continue to do so, and even at a higher rate. So with that, I'll just say thank you so much, and I'm very honored to serve today.
Dr. Ray, we appreciate you being here, taking care of us, and we agree with you on your mission. We want to take care of all those that we need to take care of, and thank you for your work at the Medical College of Georgia. Members, we want to pause and recognize two former members, not one, but two former members and great members, I might add, that members of this House that are on the floor today. My dear friend Pam, Representative Pam Dickerson. Pam, where are you? There she is. Good to see you, Pam. And also another dear friend, Representative Nikki Randall. Representative Randall, great to have y'all. We're going to move on to morning orders. We have a whole slew of morning orders we're going to take up. You know what a slew is? It's a bunch of them. So we're going to take up morning orders. I'm going to limit y'all to 1 minute. And then we have some other very important business that we're going to take care of. So some of you who may have a morning order may have to do it as an afternoon order. So, but first, I'm going to recognize the gentleman. Here he is. Chairman Ron Stevens, the Dean of the Savannah Delegation, who has a morning order. And Mr. Chairman and friends, you don't have a time limit to do what you need to do, but I hope you won't take advantage of me on that. Just don't let Chairman Petrie talk. We'll all be fine.
Uh-oh.
So Chairman Petrie's going to handle this.
We need the Chatham County delegation.
Chairman Petrie and the Chatham County delegation. I may take that back, Chairman Petrie, about no limit on your time.
Yeah, all right, Mr. Speaker.
I know you'll do good. All the Chatham County delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And
here they come, Representative Westbrook.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I want to tell y'all a little bit about St. Patrick's Day real briefly, but we really want to recognize some very special guests today. But before I do that, I got to talking to my seatmate about St. Patrick's. There's some things you may not know. Many of you may not know that St. Patrick was actually British. He was enslaved by the Irish, later found his way back home, became a priest, and made it his mission in life to convert the Irish to Christianity. He is indeed the patron saint of Ireland, and he is very, very important, and it's a very important day to the community of Savannah. I want to recognize, and if all of you will stand today, we have with us our parade committee for this year. A parade that is 199 years old, folks. 1824. And I want to welcome our Grand Marshal, Mr. George Schwartz, and his son, George Schwartz IV. Raise your hands, guys. And aides, Colonel John Broderick, Randall Fleener, Bubba Edgerly, Michael Sheffield, Patrick Burke, John Schroeder, Ashley Norris, and Marty Hogan, and other aides. My friends, thank y'all for being here today. A very special day for Savannah. Thank y'all for being with us today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 199 years. Boy, that's awesome. Good to have y'all. Thank y'all for making the trip from Savannah up. The green coats look great up there. All right, now we're on a 1-minute time limit. Chairman Lumsden is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joined with me, Representative Katie Dempsey, and also I believe Matt Barton is here. That's our delegation. We're here this morning. It's my pleasure to welcome two groups from my alma mater, Armuchee High School in Armuchee, Georgia this morning. With us today we have the Class A state competition cheerleaders with their coach, Miss Kelly Stamey. They're in the balcony. If you would, ladies, please stand. Your state competition cheerleaders, champions. This is the fourth time since 2014 that they have been state champs.
That's crazy.
And also we have joining with them the boys state Class A cross-country state champs as well with their coach, Scott Pierce. If you would please stand and be recognized. Scott's father was one of my high school coaches. And also we have joining with them the principal of Armuchee High School, Joseph Pethel. And we just want to say thank you, welcome here today, and glad to recognize you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate it.
Representative Anulowitz and Chair Lady Silcox recognized for a morning order.
Good morning. We are here today to welcome the members who are with us from the Junior League of Atlanta. Today is Junior League Day at the Capitol. They are right up there in the gallery. The Junior League of Atlanta was founded in 1916 by Iselene Campbell, because Smyrna is actually the center of the universe. That's the same Campbell family that Campbell High School is named for. But it was started by Iselene Campbell with 45 women more than a century ago. The Junior League of Atlanta remains committed to volunteerism, developing the potential of women, and improving our community through effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. The JLA has evolved and grown along with the rest of Atlanta. It is a group of dynamic and diverse women. They are not to be underestimated, and we're thrilled to have them with us today. Thank you.
Please give a hand to the Junior League of Atlanta.
Chairman Irwin, Representative Ballard, and Representative Hilton recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, we come up here to rise before you to announce Pre-K Week. We have DECAL with us, which is the Georgia Department of Early Care and Learning. Georgia Pre-K Week 2023 will take place the first full week of October, which is the 2nd through the 6th. Pre-K Week celebrates Georgia's pre-K students, our children, a nationally recognized program that has served approximately 2 million of Georgia's children since the beginning 30 years ago. I want to point out those that are up here from DECAL with us. Amy Jacobs, please stand, Commissioner. Polly McKinney, Advocacy Director. Susan Adams, Deputy Commissioner. Elena Jones, a Pre-K Teacher of the Year. And Shannon Gibson, Pre-K Teacher of the Year. Caitlin Dooley, Executive Director. Please stand up, and if you look at the mascot, that's Callie for DECAL. Thank y'all for coming and what you do for our young people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Columbus delegation needs to be on standby. If y'all all be ready, we'll get you in just a moment. All the Columbus delegation. Representative Hagan is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've got some colleagues that are going to be joining me. We'd like to recognize HCA Healthcare, that's Hospital Corporation of America. They represent 5 hospitals in Georgia. And if you up there would just stand so everybody can, all of you stand. Doctors Hospital in Augusta, Memorial Health of Savannah, Memorial Health Meadows in Vidalia, Memorial Satilla, and Fairview Park in Dublin. HCA Georgia has invested over $1 billion in total state investment and provided more than $127 million in uncompensated care, and most importantly, they paid $103 million in taxes last year. We appreciate all the work they've done at city hospitals, safety net hospitals, our rural hospitals to keep us going. So please join me in recognizing them and welcome to the Capitol. Let's do it.
The Columbus delegation is recognized for a morning order. The Columbus delegation. If the lady will suspend just for a moment before she begins. Members, you'll need to take your conversations outside this chamber. Give the lady and the gentleman and the members in the well your full attention. I don't want to call you by name, but I will. Show your respect to the members in the well and the folks we're recognizing here today. The Columbus delegation is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Columbus delegation wants you to know that today is Columbus Day, and in honor of Columbus Day, we have left a token for you on your desk to thank you for all that you do for people all across the state, even you, Mr. Williams. We also want to recognize that we have in the gallery Judge Art Smith from Columbus, and we welcome you to the People's House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We yield the well.
Good job.
Nicely done.
Good job.
Representative Alexander is recognized for a morning order. 1 minute.
Okay. Got 1 minute. Get to talking. The thing falling apart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today and annually, March 8th is observed as International Women's Day to celebrate the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women from all around the world. Also this morning, the Georgia Women's Legislative Caucus celebrated its 8th annual Nikki T. Randall Servant Leadership Award breakfast. The theme, mental health, taking care of yourself and others. We honored 32 women from various districts. Although they are not here in the gallery, congratulations to all the honorees.
Good morning. Would First Lady Burns come up, please?
The lady was out of time, but she needs to move on.
On behalf of the Georgia Women's Legislative Caucus, we wish to recognize you today in honor of the Nikki T. Randall Yellow Rose Day with these beautiful roses, which I hear are as beautiful as your paintings. We want you to know that we support you in any way that we can. Colleagues and members and guests, please help me congratulate our First Lady of the House of Representatives. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you for your recognition. I'm sure she appreciates it. Representative Maynor recognized for a brief morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to be joined by some other Georgia Tech alumni, and we would like the Georgia Tech students to rise. Adrian Vicente, Mahana Elado, Naya Butler Craig. They are PhD aerospace engineering students from Georgia Tech. They are here advocating for mental health support for graduate student workers and increased wages. Student suicide rates are increasing at alarming rates across the nation. The cost of living increases and inflation are hurting our students that live off of a $2,000 a month stipend. Thank you so much. Can we please give them a round of applause?
Representative Bazemore is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And we have some individuals in the gallery. First and foremost, I'm standing in for Representative Nagisi for the commending the Oakley Elementary School, Ms. Nagati and Ms. Irving, and all the students pursuing agriculture, education, and for other purposes. Would you please stand? Okay. They may be in the Senate. Are you over there? Okay. I only have a minute, so I'm moving on. Okay. Congratulating the Sandy Creek High School Patriots for winning the 2022 AAA State Football Championship and for other purposes. If you are in the gallery, please stand and be recognized. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. We have a gentleman from Waycross that's going to be a part of our activities in just a few minutes. So to help honor him today, we're going to recognize Chairman Corbett, Chairman Saines, and Whip Burchett for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be brief here. Today in the gallery, if you'd rise, Leadership Waycross class of 2023 is here. These are future leaders from South Georgia and Waycross, Georgia. Please ask the body to recognize them, and thank you for being here.
I think our Chief Justice is from Waycross, Georgia. Is that not correct?
That is true. That is true. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, will you please take seats? That completes our morning orders. Members will please take seats and cease conversation. Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate await entrance to the House chambers.
Allow the President, their President Pro Tem, and the members of the Senate to enter the House chamber, and the messenger will escort them to their designated seats. Members will please take their seats. I've always wanted to tell a senator that. I have some backup. Members will please take your seats. Cease conversation. We have a very special day. A very special day. Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, the justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Court of Appeals await entrance to the House chambers.
Mr. Doorkeeper, please allow the justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Court of Appeals access to the chamber, and the messenger will escort them to their designated seats. Members of the House of Representatives and Senate, this joint session will come to order. Mr. Clerk, would you please read a resolution?
House Resolution 280 by Representative Abstration to the 104th, a resolution calling a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate for the purposes of hearing a message from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, inviting each other justices of the Supreme Court and each judge of the Court of Appeals to be present at the joint session.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members may have their seats. Be seated. And our guest. Well, good morning to all of our colleagues and our esteemed guests to have you here. We're very proud of you and the work that you do, and we're proud to have you in the House chamber today. A couple of folks I'd like to introduce that really need no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. A gentleman who's becoming a fast friend. Didn't know him all that well, but he's becoming a fast friend. I have great respect for the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Georgia, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Let's welcome Lieutenant Governor Jones. Thank you, sir. He's doing a great job of leading the Senate, and we appreciate what you're doing there. Another dear friend, and I can say that about the Senate, a lot of dear friends in the Senate, but as the President Pro Tem of the Senate, from down in the Macon area, I believe that is. President Pro Tem of the Senate, John Kennedy. Let's recognize Senator John Kennedy. With the great honor, a great privilege, I want to recognize the pro tem of the House of Representatives. She had to step out, but the pro tem of the House is Representative Jan Jones, and we're so proud of her and the work she does on behalf of the people of Georgia. And we understand she had to step out. She was called out unexpectedly. So we'll see her in a short term, and I will report to her on the state of the judiciary when it's presented. I guarantee I'll let her know what was said. She'll be looking forward to it, no doubt, Mr. Chief Justice. Our special guest of the day, the judges of the Court of Appeals. If you'd all stand, the judges of the Court of Appeals. Thank you for your service. Now, the Supreme Court Justices of the state of Georgia, if you'll please stand so we can show you our gratitude for your service and your work. A distinguished group. Thank you for your service. Now, they said I could introduce anyone I wanted to, and it'd take me a little while to introduce all the people I'd like to introduce in this body. But I'm going to take just a moment to introduce a special guest. The lady that's put up with me for 46 years, my dear wife, Dale Burns. If y'all make Dale feel welcome. The great wisdom of Chief Justice said it probably feels like a lot longer than that to you. I'm sure it does. Now, colleagues, for purposes of an introduction, let me introduce our featured guest of the day. our honored guest who will deliver the State of the Judiciary address. No stranger to this chamber, he is a former member, having been first elected in the year of 2000. He also served previously in elected office as a judge on the Court of Appeals of Georgia and as a Superior Court judge for the Waycross Judicial Circuit. Like me, he too is a proud alumnus of Georgia Southern College. He went on to receive his Juris Doctors from the Mercer University School of Law. He served as a member of the Georgia Special Council on Criminal Justice Reform in 2011 and did great work there. And as co-chairman of the Georgia Criminal Justice Reform Council from 2012 to 2018, benefited this entire state on his work. He currently serves as a member of our Georgia Behavioral Health Reform and Innovation Commission, and we're indebted to him for his service in all of these areas. It's here that I'll depart from his standard biography just for a second to tell you this. He's a friend and a leader who cares deeply about the future of this state and its citizens. While he has devoted his professional career to the legal system, his heart is devoted to helping those in need, clearly evidenced about what I just told you. I consider it a great honor and a high privilege to welcome him and his colleagues of the Judiciary to our House chamber today. Please join with me in welcoming the Chief Justice of the state of Georgia, Michael P. Boggs.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for that warm welcome. Lieutenant Governor Jones, Speaker Burns, President Pro Tem Kennedy, Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones, members of the General Assembly, constitutional officers, Presiding Justice Pinson, and my colleagues on the Supreme Court of Georgia, Chief Judge Rickman, Vice Chief Mercier, and my friends on the Georgia Court of Appeals, and other judges who are here with us today, and my fellow Georgians. I'm honored to return to this esteemed chamber, the People's House, where I began my career in elective public service, to now present to you all, as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, my report on the state of Georgia's judiciary. I'd like to start with a point of personal privilege to express my most sincere gratitude to many of you here today for your steadfast friendship and support over these many years of my service. I also want to thank you all in this chamber for your ongoing cooperation and support for our judiciary that has enabled all of us in the state judicial system to fulfill our constitutional obligations as the third branch of government. As I said earlier this year in hearings before the joint budget committees in January, this body has regularly shown that you understand and you appreciate the work of our state courts, and that you recognize the significant impact our work has on society and our democracy. It is my hope that this collaborative working spirit will continue to improve, strengthen, and protect the administration of justice in Georgia, and in doing so will uphold the rule of law, a goal I know we all share. Over the past 3 years of unprecedented challenges, the state's judiciary has consistently demonstrated its commitment to faithfully serving the citizens of Georgia. We remain strong and resolutely focused on the rule of law in administering justice swiftly, impartially, and independently, foundational tenets of our democracy and our system of justice. As a result, I'm pleased this morning to report to you that the state of Georgia's judiciary is strong. This strength is found, however, in the midst of challenges. This past year has been a period of hard work and significant recovery. Courts at every level in Georgia, throughout this state, are emerging from the fog of the COVID-19 pandemic, only to be confronted with new challenges presented by truly crushing caseloads. And despite the best efforts and hard work of our courts to stay as functional as possible within the bounds of health and law, many courts across this state have accrued a backlog of cases, both civil and criminal. These all resulted from significant delays in proceedings through the last several years. As my predecessors, former Chief Justices Harold Melton and David Namias, reported to this body before, the backlog could indeed take years to resolve. As they mentioned, unlike the Braves baseball games that were scratched from the calendar in 2020, never to be played again, the legal needs of Georgia's citizens continued during the pandemic and in often cases worsened. Crimes, business disputes, custody battles, resolving the unsettled estates of departed loved ones, those things did not stop simply because of a virus. They demand resolution then and now. But make no mistake, the numbers in certain parts of Georgia are truly astounding, and the resolution of these caseloads will not be easy. Let me offer up just one example. In Fulton County, where we currently sit, there are more than 4,000 pending indicted felony cases. And it's critical to note that the number of pending felony criminal cases in Fulton County that were indicted during COVID is substantially lower than the number of people arrested for felonies during that same period of time. As a result, in Fulton County, in addition to the indicted felony caseload, there are almost 14,000 unindicted felony cases currently pending. Now, Fulton County is not alone. These high case volumes are present in some other jurisdictions throughout the state as well. But it's critical for you to remember that criminal cases, unlike their civil counterpart, present significant implications on the constitutional rights of the accused. They pose serious speedy trial issues, and importantly, they affect the families of victims who are awaiting justice and closure. Fortunately, Governor Kemp has been responsive to the plea of our courts across Georgia for help. And during his first term, you're aware that he committed $96 million in federal American Rescue Plan Act funds to state courts and prosecutors, another $14 million to public defenders to address and focus on the remediation of serious violent felony cases. That funding has been used for temporary space. Our courts have used it to rent temporary courtroom space to hold jury selections or to hold jury trials. That money's been used to hire temporary personnel, including assistant prosecutors, and to pay for senior judges. And importantly, those funds have been used to upgrade and modernize courtroom IT equipment. That's especially important for our courts that are continuing to use remote proceedings. And I'm pleased to report those funds are helping. After seeing a 36.3% increase in serious violent felony cases between 2019 and 2021, the circuits that received ARPA grants have reported to us a nearly 12% decrease in those pending cases between the end of 21 and August of 22. In fact, they've seen a similar decrease among all felony cases beyond just serious violent felonies and all cases in general. So in addition to those pending felony cases, the number of jury trials is also recovering across this state. After seeing a 75% drop in felony jury trials between 2019 and 20, our courts saw an increase in these trials of more than 182% by the end of 2021, and a nearly 14% in jury trials increased just during the first 8 months of 2022. But to be sure, there is still a long way to go. But our trial judges, and I want to really lift them up, our trial judges are demonstrating incredible leadership in tackling problems throughout our 50 judicial circuits. And to our trial judges, I say this: thank you. Thank you for all that you are doing and you continue to do despite challenges not seen for generations, and challenges, frankly, that we were not prepared to address. We know that you are on the front lines in the fight for the rule of law, and you should know we all depend on you. Your efforts thus far have reflected well, I think, on the judiciary. They make us all very proud, so thank you. But our work continues. The ARPA committee that I chair is continuing its hard work in implementing circuit applications for grants for calendar year 23. And based on what we've seen, you should know that the needs throughout your jurisdictions are great. We have awarded for calendar year 23 $39 million in funding to 37 judicial circuits for their efforts to remediate their case backlogs. On behalf of judges throughout Georgia, to this body I say thank you, and we are very grateful for this funding, both to you and to Governor Kemp. Unfortunately, though, as is often the case, we've learned that money alone will not fix the problem. As you all know, workforce challenges have permeated nearly every sector of Georgia's economy, from private industry to healthcare. And you should know our system of justice, particularly our criminal justice system, is not immune to those challenges. Governor Kemp and you have made workforce one of your primary areas of focus for Georgia, and I want you to know that the courts share this focus, particularly given how workforce challenges in the judicial system continue to impede our efforts to address case backlogs. As you know, for a court system to operate effectively and justly, we need every component at full capacity. That means we need judges and prosecutors, we need public defenders and court reporters, we need clerks and interpreters and courtroom security. Without any one of those critical components, the judicial system simply doesn't work. And to be clear, our judicial system is having enormous challenges throughout the state in finding the workers it needs to fill these critical positions that justice demands. For example, the Prosecuting Attorney's Council, which supports, as you know, the DA's offices in each of our 50 judicial circuits, reports that it is experiencing its highest number of job vacancies and has the highest level of turnover in recent history. In December, just 2 months ago, PAC had 43 unfilled positions statewide. Compare that to just 11 unfilled positions in July of 20. You all know Pete Skandalakis, the executive director of PAC, and he sums it up like this, and I quote, "Our criminal justice system is labor intensive. If we have any vacancies in any of these positions, we have a standstill in cases. And before you know it, 20 cases becomes 40, and 40 cases becomes 80. We need experienced people," end quote. Pete's right. To make matters worse, the problem is especially acute in areas outside of metro area and in rural parts of this state. Let me give you an example. In Daugherty County, Albany, there are only 4 full-time prosecutors. There have been at least twice as many in the past. The circuit received ARPA grant funding in 2022 to move through its backlog of 10,000 felony pending cases. 2,500 of those 10,000 felonies involved serious violent felonies like murder, rape, armed robbery, and certain sex offenses. Really the kinds of cases where it's clearly in the public's best interest to have your most experienced prosecutors working. However, and despite that significant funding, the DA was unable to find enough lawyers interested in filling those open prosecutor positions. Meanwhile, and not surprisingly, the number of pending criminal cases grows larger, and so does the wait for defendants charged but not convicted of crimes who are sitting in local jails awaiting throughout this state indictment or trial. And of course, as you know, in our system, punishment is supposed to follow conviction, not precede it. And this pretrial delay causes other problems too. While the cost of building up our legal workforce requires a significant financial investment, and to be sure it does, it may ultimately cost less than allowing defendants to sit in jail. In Daugherty County, Chief Judge Willie Lockett, my very good friend, estimates that there are more than 200 pretrial detainees that have been in jail in Albany for 2 or more years, pretrial. At a cost of roughly $18,000 per individual, it has cost the county nearly $3.7 million to house those detainees. And of course, as I've mentioned, workforce challenges aren't exclusive just to prosecutors. Defendants accused of crime who cannot afford their own attorneys also have a right to legal representation. But public defenders' offices are also having a very difficult time recruiting and retaining lawyers. Several months ago, David Lipscomb, who chairs the Gwinnett County's Indigent Defense Governing Committee, told local reporters that before the pandemic, Gwinnett County had about 130 lawyers for defendants who couldn't afford one. During the pandemic, that 130 capacity dropped to about 80. In response, Gwinnett County, unlike a lot of other counties, but Gwinnett County added $1 million to its indigent defense budget to help recruit more lawyers. But not every county throughout the state has access to those kinds of funds. To help recruit needed public defenders, you all have been a help. That you recently passed legislation bringing parity to the starting salaries of public defenders and prosecutors, and this helps. And that parity is a tool, I think, that our state can use to recruit needed public defenders. But significant challenges still persist. In the midst of these challenges, though, and I really think it's important to recognize here the hard and often thankless work of our prosecutors and public defenders that we do have that are in the trenches in your respective communities. Our system truly depends on you doing your job and doing it well, and you've done just that, and we appreciate you beyond compare. Of course, it's not just in the criminal arena where workforce challenges are manifest. As you know, there is no right to counsel for litigants in civil cases, like divorces and child custodies and eviction proceedings, where, if you've ever been acquainted with any of those proceedings, you know the consequences are often enormous. 67 of 159 counties in Georgia have 10 or few licensed practicing lawyers. Even worse, 7 counties in Georgia, all rural, have no licensed attorneys at all. I think you would all agree with me that access to justice is a bedrock of our nation's judicial system. Yet the basic right of access is denied to many during their most dire life challenges. Now, some of you might think that fewer lawyers is a good thing. I won't ask for a vote, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, though, I also recognize that even in this body, the General Assembly has far fewer lawyers now than when I served over 2 decades ago. But, as you all well know, the wheels of justice depend on lawyers. And truthfully, you may not think much of lawyers until you need one, but I'd suggest to you that there are many people in this state that need lawyers. To me, Georgia should be a national thought leader in promoting access to justice for its citizens, all 11,000 of them. And I expect you're going to hear more from our court and our Access to Justice Committee on these issues in the near future. To be sure, though, I'm very proud of how our judiciary and our judges are leading and ensuring the state of Georgia's judiciary remains strong and resilient. All across Georgia, I hope you'd be proud to know that our court's judges and legal partners are looking for innovative solutions to complex and unique problems. Along the way, they're improving the administration of justice for our citizens. Let me offer just a few examples of judiciary-led programs in our state. In juvenile court in Tifton, Judge Render Hurd's courtroom was an early adopter of remote conference technology. He employed state-of-the-art devices to keep cases and ultimately the lives of children from stalling. As the pandemic in Tifton has receded, Judge Hurd has kept this high-tech setup, like so many other judges have across the state, so that he can continue presiding over hearings and case reviews in a more efficient way. Now, the consequence is that, for instance, a psychologist living in Columbus or an ER doctor in Atlanta who's called on to testify in one of those cases doesn't have to drive the hours it takes from here to Tift County. Or a lawyer who is also a working mom doesn't have to ask for a continuance of her case when she's at home with her own sick child. Our children, who, as you know, are at the hearts of all of these cases and may well be placed in most of them in homes hours away from that 4-county circuit in Tifton, can, through this technology, still participate in their hearings. And they can be aware of decisions that are affecting their futures, all without missing full days of school. These are real scenarios that Judge Hurd has seen and resolved with his court's adoption of technology. Another innovation is occurring in Chatham County, where juvenile court judge Roxanne Formey has founded the state's first ever treatment court for minor victims of human trafficking. Appropriately called Hope Court, which stands for Healing Opportunities Through Positive Empowerment, this unique court focuses on addressing the specific needs of youth and families involved in sex and labor trafficking. The program aims to strengthen them and their communities by providing them with the support, resources, and tools they need in order to recover and lead healthy and productive lives. In addition, you should all be proud to hear that Georgia is one of the states taking a lead in expanding services to veterans, a population that has been historically underserved in this nation through our criminal justice systems. Fortunately, Georgia judges like Cobb Judicial Circuit Judge Rob Leonard are leading the charge. I also have the pleasure of serving on the Council on Criminal Justice's Veterans Justice Commission. That is a commission that is chaired by former United States Defense Secretary and U.S. Senator Chuck Hagel. It includes former Defense Secretary and White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta. We've been working over the last year to identify really the unique needs of veterans who find themselves involved in our criminal justice system, and we've been searching for solutions that can restore their lives and lead them on a path of being healthy, productive citizens. Through our studies, we found that even though nationwide public safety officials in some places and prosecutors and courts have indeed modified their structure and objectives when addressing military veterans, only a fraction of state courts have actually established really specific justice-involved and veterans-focused interventions. You'd be proud to know that Georgia, though, is leading in meeting this challenge. Through veterans courts in Georgia, eligible nonviolent defendants are diverted away from our prisons and into highly supervised, data-driven treatment programs. These programs are aimed at addressing their underlying issues. They create support and a network for success and stability. And as a result, and not surprisingly, you would not be surprised to find that the recidivism rates for these high-risk but nonviolent veterans are much lower. According to data from the Council of Accountability Court Judges in Georgia, veterans courts have among the lowest recidivism rates, with just 18% of graduates being rearrested for a felony offense within 3 years. By contrast, the recidivism rate for a non-veteran but similar individual who instead went to prison, that recidivism rate hovers between 60 and 81%. And if that's not enough to get your attention, these veterans courts also save taxpayer dollars. Veterans courts yield a savings of more than $13,000 per participant to the state, while costing less than $6,000. Last year alone, our veterans courts in Georgia served 337 military veterans throughout the state. Those courts produce real savings both budgetarily and in lives saved. On behalf of our many dedicated accountability court judges across Georgia, thank you for your continued commitment, and thank you all for continuing to support accountability court judges in this state. Beyond these examples of judges improving access to justice, our state judges are also fully engaged in improving the administration of justice for many of our citizens in our state that have serious mental illness. A few points to highlight the issue. In the United States, 1 out of 33 adults is behind bars. That's 1 in 33 adults is incarcerated in the U.S. You might be surprised to learn that in Georgia, the number is 1 in 13. Since 1980, in Georgia, the number of people going to jail has tripled, and the length of sentence has increased by 166%. I believe that much of this is attributable to deficiencies in our mental health service delivery systems. Nationwide, nearly a fifth of jail admissions involves a person with serious mental illness. A fifth. We also know that people in the United States with mental illness are 10 times more likely to be incarcerated than hospitalized. They're 19 times more likely to find a bed in the criminal justice system than at a state civil hospital. And while those with mental illness in the United States and in Georgia are traditionally arrested for fairly minor offenses, often like criminal trespass or loitering, empirical data demonstrates that once incarcerated, this population tends to stay in jail 4 to 8 times longer than their counterparts, at 7 times the cost. In our own Department of Corrections, the mental health population has grown 100% in the last 2 decades, such that now in Georgia and at the Department of Corrections, a full 25% of the entire incarcerated population is identified as having a mental health issue. And on top of the really enormous moral and fiscal impacts that I've just highlighted, public safety is also adversely affected, because we know in the United States that just a day or 2 in jail for this population increases their recidivism rates by 40%. Thankfully, Governor Kemp and all of you have recognized the importance of addressing this very significant problem in creating and supporting the work of the Governor's Behavioral Health Reform and Innovation Commission, a commission on which I serve. Your efforts have ensured that Georgia continues to lead the country in thoughtfully and responsibly addressing this issue. Sincerely, I truly thank all of you for your overwhelming support last year and this year of the recommendations of the Commission, and I trust that you recognize that your efforts reflect well on the priorities of our state. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge on this particular issue the critical leadership of late Speaker David Ralston, and thank Speaker John Burns for continuing Speaker Ralston's legacy in this regard. We wouldn't be here without Speaker Ralston, and I'm just so thoroughly thankful for my friendship with him and for his leadership. I also want to especially recognize and thank Judge Amanda Mercier, Judge Brenda Weaver, Judge Kathy Goslin, Judge Brian Amaro, and Judge Sarah Harris for their commitment to taking time and the effort necessary to assist the Behavioral Health Commission and the subcommittee on which I chair to improve access to justice for this population and to improve outcomes. Another way our court leaders are working to ensure that our citizens have meaningful access to justice is through our Judicial Council's Committee on Court Interpreters. They recently completed reviewing and updating the rules that govern court interpreting in our state. And of course, as you know, as Georgia's population is becoming increasingly diverse, it is imperative that our state courts continue to be accessible to everyone. I'd particularly like to recognize my colleague, Justice Carla Wong McMillan, and Suwannee Municipal Court Judge Norman Quadra for their efforts to lead this work. Thank you. In addition to these tremendous examples, I think, of judiciary-led leaderships and initiatives, let me lift up an initiative in which one of our legal partners is also helping some of Georgia's most vulnerable children. Through a medical legal partnership, our state's legal practitioners, lawyers, are assisting children with significant health risks and chronic illnesses. In 2004, Atlanta Legal Aid pioneered a health law partnership known as HELP, where they stationed lawyers in each of the hospitals run by Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and they established a law clinic at Georgia State University with the purpose to assist low-income families with legal problems that affect the health and well-being of these medically fragile children. In fact, through the work of these medical legal partnerships, 5 children in Georgia have received new hearts when they otherwise would not have been eligible. Help lawyers work. Thank you. These help lawyers work with doctors and social workers and nurses while these children are hospitalized in order to provide services for these children who are already, of course, receiving care. They intervene to address underlying conditions that harm the children's health, such as poor housing conditions, which can magnify chronic illnesses like asthma or sickle cell disease. They seek to assist to secure necessary special education services for developmentally disabled children in Georgia. They facilitated custody for infants with terminal cardiac conditions that allowed them to be placed in supportive home environments and in turn be eligible for these life-saving heart transplants. And in fact, during 2020 alone, these lawyers worked on more than 640 cases, serving 387 unique clients. Their work resulted in savings of $1.2 million in housing, education, family law, insurance, and public benefits. So I hope you will continue to find ways to support this program, this initiative, and these lawyers in this critical work supporting Georgia's most vulnerable children. Before I wrap up, and that will be soon, I promise, try to end on a note that I hope you can all appreciate. If you've ever been in our courtroom or you've ever watched the live stream of our oral arguments, you see engraved in the granite above our courtroom, above our bench, a Latin phrase that is essentially translated to this: "Let justice be done though the heavens may fall." We're reminded of that phrase every time we enter our courtroom. To me, and I hope to you, that phrase uniquely encompasses the duty of judges, singularly encompasses the duty of judges. Judges are called upon to interpret the law and the Constitution. It's not our duty, nor should it be, to change the law or the Constitution. We don't render decisions based on our own desires or our own bent of will, but rather we follow what the statutes and the Constitution require. And in doing so, we respect and appreciate the separation of powers and the awesome responsibility you all have as legislators to craft and shape the laws of our state. This is the embodiment of the separation of powers, and this is the rule of law. However, underpinning the rule of law is the safety of our judges. Our judicial system depends on judges deciding cases without fear. This includes fear for their personal safety or the safety of their families. The Chief Justice of the United States has made court security the centerpiece of his recent annual report, where he stated, and I quote, "The law requires every judge to swear an oath to perform his or her work without fear or favor, but we must support judges by ensuring their safety. A judicial system cannot and should not live in fear," end quote. I have the pleasure of serving as chair of the Judicial Council of Georgia, and in doing so, I want to give a voice to judges all across our state who have an interest in this issue. And so you can expect that judicial security will be an area of focus as this year progresses. And in fact, just last month, I'm proud of our court for creating a new Judicial Council Standing Committee on Judicial Security that will be chaired by my good friend and colleague, Justice Sean Ellen LaGrua. That committee will be focusing on security challenges to Georgia's judges, particularly those challenges outside the courthouse. I'm aware of ongoing efforts by the General Assembly to address this issue this year. I appreciate that effort, and I hope you know that you can expect some further recommendations from our committee for your possible consideration next year. Your interest in this issue is really underpinning the entire rule of law in our state, and I'm so appreciative for what you are doing to address it. As I close, let me just simply say this. I'm very optimistic about the year ahead for the state judiciary. Our courts are making significant progress in moving cases, in improving access to justice, in improving the administration of justice, and in steadfastly upholding the rule of law. Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, for inviting me to speak on behalf of the Supreme Court, as well as on behalf of Georgia's judicial branch this morning. I wish you all a productive balance of the session. May God bless you and your families, and may God bless the great state of Georgia. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Our Chief Justice. Thank you, Justice Boggs, for informing all of us to ensure that we know the facts about our justice system in Georgia. Two more comments. Georgia is the best place to live, work, and play. I like to add play in this nation, but one of those reasons is because of our justice system. It's the dedicated judges that I see in front of me, justices, and the judges around this state that make it just that. A great place to live where you feel comfortable that justice will be served. And I'm so proud to have invited y'all here today and have our presentation on the state of the judiciary. And one last comment. You have the heart and intellect of a judge. There's no doubt about that. But you have the heart of a compassionate man, individual that wants and is serving all of the people of Georgia. And we love you and appreciate you, if I could say that about a justice. At this time, I'll ask the doorkeeper to escort the Supreme Court justices and the judges of the Court of Appeals from the chamber. Mr. Doorkeeper. The majority leader of this House, Leader F. Stration, is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this joint session now be dissolved.
The majority leader of this House has moved that this joint session be dissolved. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes clearly have it, there's no doubt, and this joint session is thereby dissolved. Members will please take your seats. Members, please take your seats. Members, please take your seats. Members will please take your seats. We're going to continue. We have a couple of morning orders we did not get to. But to my colleagues in the House, y'all know how this works. Sometimes you get the blame and sometimes you get the acclaim, right? But I want to share that with y'all. Chief Justice Boggs just acknowledged this House a few minutes ago. He called my name, but it was this House that did exceptional work last year with Speaker Ralston and with Representative Oliver and Representative Jones, the work y'all are doing, that we're all doing when it comes to address mental health issues in our state, along with compassionate people like the Chief Justice. Let's give all ourselves a hand here. Well, we complete those eloquent remarks by recognizing Representative Al Williams and Chairman DeLoach. If he would accompany him, and Whip Burchett. He needs company. He needs chaperoning. Representative Williams is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Always good to be able to share with you, but this morning is particularly good. If I can get a picture, there we go. I want you to have the opportunity to see an unknown hero, but certainly a Georgia hero who happens to be from Liberty County. And unbelievably, his life kind of changed in 1970. His wife went to the hospital to deliver. Unfortunately, they lost the baby, and then she had to have blood. Afterwards, he went to pay for the blood, and they told him the blood was donated. It changed his life. In 1972, he became a blood donor. For over 50 years, every 56 days, he gives blood, which amounts to over 30 gallons of blood. He saved a lot of lives. David Clark lives in Fleming, Georgia, and he is truly a Georgia hero. And both the gentlemen, Whip and Representative DeLoach, both have relationships with him. With the kind permission of the Speaker, I'd like to yield the remainder of my 1 hour to Representative DeLoach and the Whip.
Just thank you, David, for your friendship over the years and for what you've meant both to Liberty County and to the entire state of Georgia. Thank you.
He waves, so I'll take the rest of the time. With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you, and I yield the well.
Wow. Representative Williams, I know you're correct. A true American hero, saving lives. And to my thanks and congratulations to all of our fellow men, especially Georgians who are blood donors. It's something we should all consider. If you've never done it, whether it's plasma or giving blood, you should consider it. It makes you feel good. We're going to move on now to afternoon orders. Representative Kendrick is recognized for an afternoon order. Representative Donahue, hold it, wait a minute. You're next, Representative Donahue. Here's Representative Kendrick right now. Take your time, you're good.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. It is that time of year. Many of you that have been here know what that means. It is time for my annual birthday rant. Because my birthday is in August and I don't get to hear the speaker call out my name and hear everybody stand and applause, and I don't think it's fair. So, if your birthday is outside of the legislative session, stand up, wave your hands so that our colleagues can give us a round of applause.
Stand with you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the wheel.
That was a good announcement, a good afternoon order. I like it. I'm going to invite Representative Donahue to come down to bring us a very special afternoon order. Before you do, I'm going to ask the clerk of this House to ring the bell, and then I'm going to ask you to explain why he's ringing the bell, if you will, sir. Mr. Clerk. Representative Donahue is recognized for a very special afternoon order.
Thank you. Back in May, we had an experience. A lot of you people here have gone through an experience called. We were in a primary, and my bride, next week will be 42 years. 4 days before the primary election, we found out that she had -3 breast cancer, a pretty large aggressive tumor. So with that, the travel and the journey continued to go. 16 chemo treatments, an ultrasound, a lot of prayer from here, and everywhere I went to speak, people came up and said, "We're praying for Elaine." They didn't care about me. That was okay. They were praying about Elaine. With that being said, God is good. To show you how good God is, they can't find the tumor. Yesterday, she was able to ring the bell, and after they went in and looked everywhere, they said, "You're cancer-free." So praise our Lord. Thank y'all.
Last time I checked, this is a family, and we are proud of Elaine and proud for Elaine, and thank God for blessing us all, but especially prayers are answered. So thank you, members, for supporting Representative Donahue and Elaine, and we just continue to pray that she'll remain that way. Representative Reese is recognized for an afternoon order. Representative Teddy Reese.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be joined by Representative Mathis and Representative Frazier. Colleagues, today is a very special day in my life and for me and my family. Today is my grandmother's 89th birthday. And I asked my colleagues here to stand with me because she currently resides in Representative Mathis' district, and she was born and raised in Representative Frazier district, Burke County. My grandmother didn't get a chance to finish the 10th grade because she was called in by the family in which her parents were sharecroppers. She spent most of her life picking cotton in fields and doing what she had to do to survive. But Mr. Speaker, she was persistent, and she retired from the state of Georgia, working 32 years cleaning floors and beds and toilets for people with disabilities and disabled veterans at Central State Hospital in Millersville, Georgia. So today I say happy birthday, grandmother. I love you. You're the best, Carrie Lou Harden. Thank you so much.
Grandmothers are wonderful. Leader F. Strachan is recognized for an afternoon order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to recognize a dear friend of mine who's here at the Capitol today, Guy Camuso, who's the father of Craig Camuso, who many of y'all know. is here. Guy and I got to know each other as practicing attorneys in Gwinnett County. Guy is a veteran of the Vietnam War, served honorably, and got his law license, and now works as the attorney assigned to the mental health court in Gwinnett County. So he helps veterans who are going through the mental health court with his experience as a veteran himself. He's a tremendous leader. I know that he's here at the Capitol today walking around with Craig. If you see Guy, please shake his hand and thank him for his service to his country and his state. And thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
That completes afternoon orders. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions?
Honoring the life and memory of Elliot Levitas. Recognizing, commending Dr. Florence Fasson. Recognizing, commending Dr. Yasin Hall. Congratulating Alexa Guerin for her outstanding performance at the 2022 National Derby Rallies and the 2022 World Championship. Recognizing and honoring the members of the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee. Recognizing October 2 through 6, 2023 is Georgia PK Week. Recognizing March 12, 2023 is Nathaniel William Clark Day at the State Capitol. Honoring the province of Sin's status as sister state with Georgia. Commending the Georgia residents who have type 1 diabetes and whose families continually educate and advocate. And recognize March 14, 2023 is Type 1 Diabetes Day at the State Capitol, and recognizing and commending Captain Rabu Hamasu Yadudu. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We do have some announcements. Chairman Corbett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Rural Caucus will meet upon adjournment over at the Ag Building across the road. Lunch will be served, sponsored by Farm Bureau. Thank y'all.
Chairman Hawkins is recognized for an announcement.
Committee on Health will meet today at 2 o'clock in 403 Capitol.
Chairman Billy Mitchell is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Democratic Caucus will meet for lunch 12:30 in 605. As I emphasize, lunch will be served. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Dewey McClain is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Democratic House delegation will meet at 1:30 in room 514. The Democratic House delegation will meet in room 514, the CLOB. The Gwinnett House delegation will meet. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think his battery's dead, maybe he can't hear you. It's a good thing he doesn't sit in the back. Leader Illustration is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. We will have a chairman's lunch in room 403 upon adjournment. 403 upon adjournment.
Chairman Deloach is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All freshman members, please hear this. The mandatory ethics training schedule for 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon has been rescheduled for noon tomorrow. You're welcome to bring your lunch and eat it during the training. 506 CLOB. I'll see you there.
506 tomorrow at noon for ethics training. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Jasmine Clark is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The GLBC will meet at 12:30 today for a lunch and learn, and at 4 o'clock today via Zoom. Also at 2 o'clock p.m., the House Democratic Caucus Policy Committee will hold a hearing and cap 2:30 at 2 o'clock. So not at 2:30, in 2:30 at 2 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In 2:30 at 2 o'clock. Got it. Chairlady Lynn Smith is recognized for an announcement.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, Natural Resource Committee will be meeting. Both our committees will be there to have hearings on the bills before the committee. Thank you.
That completes our announcements. We do have pages today. They're down front. If you have a page, I urge you to join us up front so we can if you could communicate this to Representative Williams before you have to talk so loudly, we'd be glad to recognize you for another announcement. Could you do that?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Representative McLean is recognized to complete an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Working Family Cox will have lunch tomorrow at 12 o'clock and 307. And since we're coming in at 1:30, I just wanted y'all to be aware that you all can come in and have lunch at 307 Working Family Caucus at 12 o'clock. 307 Working Family Caucus tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, he wouldn't. Everyone else heard him except you, evidently. That completes our announcements on, wait a minute, I better do this first. The majority leader of this House is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, March 9th, 2023.
Members, thank you for your attention today. It was a good day. We heard some good information. On the motion of the majority leader that this House stand adjourned until 1:30 tomorrow, Thursday, March the 9th, 2023. All those in favor will say aye. All opposed will say no. Oh, wait a minute. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, no. I got it. The ayes have it. We're adjourned.